Alright, so this LeetCode question is called +1. It says, given a non-empty array of digits representing a non-negative integer, add 1 to the integer. The digits are stored such that the most significant digit is at the head of the list, and each element in the array contains a single digit. You may assume the integer does not contain any leading zeros except the number 0 itself. So the example they give us is the array 1, 2, 3, that becomes 1, 2, 4. Makes sense, you just add 1. Next one, 4, 3, 2, 1 becomes 4, 3, 2, 2. The explanation being that the array represents the integer 4, 3, 2, 1. Like we just said, you just add 1 to that and you would get 4, 3, 2, 2. So to explain it more simply, you just basically pretend that the array is just a number. So let's say you have the number 54. What's 54 plus 1? 55. Let's say you have the number 99. What's 99 plus 1? 100. Alright, so the key to solving this problem is to look at the last element in the array. In this case, it's 6. If it's not a 9, all we have to do is increment that number by 1, and we're done. 4, 5, 6 becomes 4, 5, 7. But the problem is when the number that we're at is a 9. So let's say this is 4, 5, 9. Now what do? We change the 9 to a 0. We keep looping until we get to the next element, and we check if that's a 9. If it's not a 9, we just increment that by 1, and we're done. So 4, 5, 9 became 4, 6, 0. The only edge case we really have to consider is when each of the numbers is a 9. So let's show that real quick. Let's pretend this is 9, 9, 9. When you add 1 to 999, what should you get? 1,000. Note that 1,000 has 4 digits in it, and 999, which is our original number, only has 3. So how would that work if we just use the formula that we've been doing so far? We would check the first number. Is it a 9? Yes, it is. So change it to 0. Go to the next number. Is that a 9? Yes, so change it to 0. Is the final number a 9? Yes, so change that to 0. What happens now? Instead of 1,000, we have 0, 0, 0. So when the last number we check is a 9, not only do we have to change it to a 0, we also have to add one more element to the front of the array. That's a 1. So it would end up being like this. All right, so let's get to the code. What LeetCode has given us is a function called +1, which accepts a parameter digits. And remember, digits is just an array that we have to increment by 1. All right, so remember the first step is to loop over the array from right to left. So for let I equal digits.length minus 1. So that puts us at the last element of the array. I is greater than or equal to 0. And then I minus minus. So that'll loop us from right to left in the array. So at this moment, we are here. All right, what's the next step? We have to check whether the number that we're on is a 9. So we say if digits I, so the number we're on, doesn't equal a 9, and right now, if you look at our array, it doesn't equal a 9. So what do we have to do? We just have to increment it. So digits I plus plus, and that would look like this. The 3 becomes a 4. And at that point, we're done. We just return the array. So return digits. All right, so that's what happens if the element we're on is not a 9. But what happens if it is a 9? So it would look something like this. 129. So of course, if you add 1 to 129, it should be 130. So what happens is that it'll go through the loop and check if the number we're on is a 9. It is, so we actually need an else clause. So if it is a 9, what do we have to do? We just have to change the element we're on. So digits I, we have to change that to 0. And now what happens? So right now we're here, 129 becomes 120. Now all it does is it goes through the next loop and checks whether the number that we're on now is a 9. It's not, so it increments it by 1, giving us the 130 we need, and it returns the array, which is 130. All right, but we have one more case to go over. What happens if every number is a 9? So 9, 9, 9. What we need that to be when we increment it by 1 is 1, 0, 0, 0. But take note that 1, 0, 0, 0 has 4 elements, but 999 only has 3. So how does that work? So let's just walk through how the loop is right now. Goes through, it's on the first number. What is it? It's a 9, so it changes that to a 0. Next loop goes to the next element. What's that? It's a 9, so we change that to 0. Final loop, that's also a 9, so we change that to 0. So now we have a minor problem. We need 1, 0, 0, 0, but instead we have 0, 0, 0. So all we have to do now is add an element to the front of the array and then return the array. How do we add an element to the front of an array in JavaScript? We use unshift. So digits dot unshift 1, so add 1 to the front of the array and just return digits. All right, let's see how we did. Looks good. Let's submit it. All right, so our result is faster than about 61% of other JavaScript submissions. As usual, the code and written explanation are linked down below. See you next time.